Congratulations, Jeff Wolf Studios, the newest member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, Spanish Fork. I am Wendy Osborne here with the Spanish Fork Chamber, and Brian Halverson from Zions Bank, and Jeff Wolf here celebrating today his ribbon cutting. Jeff, will you tell us a little bit about your business?
Well, I've been sculpting full-time for about 30 years now. I forget how old I am. Anyway, I sculpt everything from wildlife, Western, do a lot of commission work. Sculpted everything from football players to angels. I'm currently finishing up a piece for a Navy captain. With his unit was the Mustang, so there's a Mustang, himself saluting the flag, and his two dogs.
That's nice. That'll be amazing. So, Jeff, tell us a little bit about where where your studio is and the process in terms of some of the creations that you make.
Okay, well, I work out of my little studio in South Benjamin, and the process always starts with an idea, and it might be, unless it's a commission, and of course, then I do what is provided to me. But a lot of times they just either see something or read something or hear a story or life experiences, and they start forming in my mind until they become really visible. And then it's kind of like a magnet being drawn to the studio, and then actually my hands just become the tools to create whatever it wanted to be. So,
what's been one of your favorite?
Well, my favorite is the one I'm working on currently. Once I get a piece done, it's like that thrill or excitement or whatever it was that created it kind of goes, and I'm ready to move on to the next one. But I look back over the years, there's a piece called Down the Rough Edges. It's been one of my favorites. The Stock Detective has been one of my favorites. But yeah, to really put a label on which one,
It's hard.
it's pretty hard.
It's like which child is your favorite, right? You can't answer that question.
Exactly, because they're all favorites, so in their own way.
Yeah,
So.
that's amazing. Can you tell us and the viewers what's the process to create something like this?
Well, I start with a clay figure, armature, and then I put the clay on the armature and sculpt the concept. And then after the clay is finished, and if it was a commission piece, it has to be approved. And then it goes to the foundry, and I use two foundries, Bear Bronze here in Springville and Northwest Art Castings in Bozeman, Montana. Once they get the clay figure, then they put it in a mold, and it's a silicon rubber mold. It goes on like a syrup, the first coat, so it picks up every detail. And then they build that up until they've got a finished mold. And then once the mold's complete, then they cut the rubber, remove the clay, and then a hot wax is poured into it. And it's hollow like a Easter bunny, a chocolate Easter bunny. And then they attach sprues to it in a wax cup. And then they take it to the slurry room and encase it in a ceramic shell. And it's done by dipping it in a slurry solution sprinkled with silicon sand. And once that takes about 7 days. Once that shell's built up and cured, it goes to a kiln. The wax is melted out of it. The bronze is heated up to 2100 degrees and poured into that cavity, the shell cavity. And then as that cools, the shell cracks, and then they sandblast it, cut the sprues off, and a lot of pieces are cast in multiple pieces. So then they have to weld everything back together, chase all the weld marks and whatnot, get the texture back perfectly. Then it's sandblasted a final time. It goes into the patina room where it's heated and sprayed with chemicals to give it the different colors. Then it's waxed, put on a base, and out to the customer. So
That's amazing. And all your pieces, can we see them on your website?
pretty much that, and on Facebook. So yeah,
And what are those locations? Where can we find those?
JeffWolfStudio.com, and just Jeff Wolf or Jeff Wolf Studio on Facebook. And I think my daughter's doing some Instagram stuff for me because I am not that. Yeah.
Jeff, you published a booklet that talked a little bit about the importance of art and the effects upon a community. Could you maybe share a little bit of information about that and how our viewers can have access to that booklet?
Sure. I don't know if I've got any more of them in print, but what it was is I founded an organization called the Western Art Rodeo Association. So I went through all the research on how art benefits a community. And through that research, I found that it increases the real estate values, it lowers crime rates, people take more pride in their community. And I found that art is the second leading industry in the world.
Oh, wow.
Multi-billion-dollar industry. And it draws tourism. It's one of the main things for monuments in a community is tourism. It brings tours. People take pictures in front of the monuments, or they have wedding celebrations, whatever, but it draws people to the community. And so that's kind of in a nutshell. But if anybody would be interested in that pamphlet, I would get some more printed up. So
Okay. Would they email you or just?
yeah, they could. It's
How would they contact you?
info@jeff-wolf.com.
And Jeff, admiring some of these pieces, we noticed there's some smaller. The Indians obviously a bit bigger. What are the size ranges that you work with?
Well, as you can see behind me, from the small pieces all the way up to life-size pieces. I've done several half life-size, quarter life-size. So that's whatever's required is what I do. So.
And then all of those have to be broken down into individual pieces and then welded back together and then make it look like it was one piece all came that way, right?
Yeah, correct. Yep. It's all got to be, it's usually cut up in clay first, and then each individual part is molded separately.
Well, Jeff, we want to, on behalf of the Chamber, I want to welcome you. I'm so excited to have you as part of our Chamber. Would also like to thank Channel 17 as well as Costco for providing today's cake. And again, welcome and thank you so much. Have a great day, Spanish Fork.